Okay, so we are here at the Northeast RS6 Treffen put on by Ray Reyes for the first time this year. We are at Dominion Raceway, just off of I-95 north of Richmond, Virginia. And today is a gathering of RS6s. There's some other Audis here too that I'll touch on, but the RS6s are the stars as if they aren't normally. So I'm gonna walk past all these cars. We hear there are more coming, so I know of at least one more that's on its way. A couple had to bail, but I don't know. There are probably at least 15 or so here today. So I'm going to, if you can hear me over the cars out on track, again, we're at Dominion Raceway, and there's some people out running today. So hopefully you can hear me over the din of engines. All right, so this group drove in from like kind of all over the East Coast. We've got a guy here from Cape Cod. We've got some people who came up from the South. So a lot of locals who have RS6s. And we have a pretty good mix, some Audi exclusives, some tribute editions. So I'll kind of walk you through what I know. Of course, there are bigger nerds on RS6 and more knowledgeable on RS6 than me today. But I'll stick to what I know and see what we see. So this first car is Sebring Black. It's like a black color with a metallic flake in it. It's almost got like a bluish, very subtle bluish pearl effect. And then with RS6s, if you have the steel brakes as this car does, I believe the standard color is black. And then you can opt for red, or I know red in the US, there are cars with that today. I know in Europe they also offer like a Navarra Blue brake, so I don't know. I haven't seen any today. I'm not sure if that's on the US build guide or not, but I have seen it on the German configurator. So if you're into RS6s and you want to order one, figure that out for yourself, I suppose. So you'll see two sorts of brakes on these RS6s. You'll see like this, which is steel or ceramic. We'll get to those in a bit. Neither of these cars have them. So the other couple of things I'll point out on this car, it's a black Optic car. The easy way to spot that, unless you walk up and notice that the kind of trim points are black, which would be hard to tell on a black car, but not carbon, are the easy way to tell if they haven't swapped the wheels is the wheel itself, the RS6 wheel that's on kind of all stock RS6s. Well, no, wait, there's a base wheel too, but this is the most common wheel. It's the upgrade wheel that you'll see, and this one's like a silver and titanium with like Audi Sport logo. They all get that. So silver and like a titanium gray, those are for the black Optic cars. And you get carbon Optic cars like this Navarra Blue. I think this is Navarra Blue. It may be a wrap because that's a Navarra Blue next to it. It's definitely matte, so it's either a matte wrap. I don't think this is matte factory, but I haven't asked the owner yet. As you can see, it's got carbon trim like there. They're on the chin. They're on the side sills. The mirrors. They get a lot of the black Optic, like the window trim and the roof rails. And then black exhaust tips on the black Optic cars too, but then you get the carbon in the back. So if you did the carbon Optics, that's what you got. If this is a matte paint, then that's like a $8,000 plus paint job, I believe, from Audi exclusive. If it's a wrap, then it's whatever he paid for it, but not a standard color. This is Navarra Blue. This is a standard color. Looks like a black Optic, titanium wheels, black trim. This, I think he may have refinished the wheels. Would be available like this in Europe. It's Daytona gray with a silver Optic. So you got the silver, matte silver, kind of satin silver mirrors, roof rails, trim, and crossing streams with another guy going live, so I'll skip this. But the bright silver wheels were limited only to the tribute editions here. We'll get to those, the Navarra Blue ones you see down there. But so I'm not sure what he did here. He may either swapped or he refinished. I see Audi Sport logos, so I'm gonna guess he swapped. But looks fantastic, especially with the optional red brakes on a gray car. This might be one of my favorites today, just because of the subtlety. Next is Nardo Gray. If you're an Audi enthusiast, you see all kinds of Nardo cars. It's pretty common, looks great. I believe this car, red brakes, black Optic, or no, yeah, black Optic, very cool. Next up, this is an exclusive color. It may be Piedmont Red. I don't know. I haven't spoken to the owner yet. and I don't know my reds all that well, but it's definitely not a standard red color. And then rose gold wheels by EC Forged. So definitely a unique look for this one. Next up is a kind of mid-2000s Audi green called Goodwood Green. It's a really handsome look on like a cognac interior. I'll see if I can. That's a standard interior color, Audi exclusive exterior color. So this is a silver optic, and then base wheels. It looks like you may have spacers on those. Next up is a Sebring Black. This car has Opt Sport Line's RS6R body kit on it, so I'll walk you through that. But Opt, for those who don't know, is a German tuner. They also run a couple Audi dealers. They also run a couple Audi racing teams, like several of the DTM teams, switching to GT3 this year, and the Formula E team. And then they've run teams at the Nürburgring and other places. So pretty cool. So that's why this is very much racing inspired. As you can see, there's a lot of carbon pieces on the front nose there. Kind of like a Q8 style, but it retains those like Sport Quattro vents. Chin, the gurney flaps, the Opt wheel, the Opt side skirts, carbon mirrors. These vents are actually functional, as I understand. They actually cut the fender when they install those, so that is actually helping cooling. And then you have carbon back here with the rear spoiler and kind of arrow around the rear window, and then rear valance with the RS6R logos, front and rear, and then Opt exhaust. It's a really rare kit. They made, I think, 125 of them worldwide, and as I understand it, they've all been built. So if you want it, you got to find one of the ones that have been built. This one is a Pennsylvania car, and just recently finished. It's definitely badass, very menacing in black. Then that is Navarra Blue. Navarro is the original kind of, it wasn't called Navarro back in the RS2 days, but it's the original kind of RS2 color. This is why the tribute, it's made for celebration of the RS2, the anniversary of the RS2. So they made 25 of these for the US. Differences you'll see are the silver optic wheels, which were only made available on this car for this year. We'll see if they come available in future model years, but for now, they are sold in Europe as an option. Here, only on this car, which is why it was odd that that gray one had it. Red brakes, silver rings, kind of emulating the RS2. If you Google RS2, it was a kind of 5-cylinder turbo B4 estate Audi wagon, right? Estate being British terminology for wagon, and they were built by Porsche in Stuttgart. And so kind of had Porsche wheels, Porsche powered by Porsche on the intake manifold, Porsche tuned engine, Porsche 968 front lighting, like in the bumpers, and Porsche 964, I think is where they were first shown teardrop mirrors. So it would have been made around the same time as the 964 and the 993 911s, if you're a Porsche nut. Again, that's an RS2. This is an RS6, and it pays tribute to that. So they're pretty rare, very hard to find. They were not pre-sold. These went to certain dealers, and if you were in, you got one. If you knew the dealer, they took care of you, or you're a good customer, or you knew it was coming, or whatever. People got lucky and got them. They're very sought after today. Next up is an exclusive Merlin purple, black optic, very unique color, very cool. Again, this would be like a pre-approved exclusive color. So I think the price on a exclusive color like this, or the green, or the, what else is exclusive here? Oh, that red. If the red is one of the approved one, it's $3,900. If it's not one of the approved ones, then it goes up. Like a matte paint would be like $8,000-9,000. So very expensive. But next is another Nardo Gray. I think we already did one already, so I'll go past that one relatively quickly. Not because it's not badass, just because it's hot out here and I'm trying to make time. This one is Ray Reyes' car. He's actually got a Voodoo Blue one on order, and he took this one until the Voodoo Blue one shows up, which is kind of badass. He's got the wheels. These will go on the Voodoo car too. They're from Brixton Forged. These are actually from John Olsen's car. If you know, John Olsen is an ex-gamer in Europe and takes part in the kind of supercar rallies. He always builds Audis, or often builds Audis, put it that way. He's built Lamborghinis and some other stuff too, but RS6s were his more recent kind of theme. He built a DTM themed one, and the most recent one had these wheels on it. And then when that car was kind of decommissioned and disassembled, I understand these wheels were shipped over, and Ray was able to get them for his car. So pretty cool. I think it's got a Unitronic tune, I'm guessing, because Unitronic emblem. So then we got another Navarra Blue car. This one's got HRE wheels. Navarra Blue is a pretty common and always handsome color. Modern Audis, popular on S cars and RS cars. This one's carbon optic, so it's kind of like an understated color, but the more aggressive options plus the HREs, it's a nice compliment. Another tribute edition. This one's cool. So in Europe, they did, it was called a RS 25 years or something like that. It was 25 themes, so right, 25 years since the RS2. And so there was a logo that was unique to there we go. See the 25 next to the rhombus. Kind of looks like a checkered flag theme. So it was a logo. They got it on the puddle lights and some other pieces that went on these in Europe. So for the tribute guys, it's kind of cool to get those. Some people who do the European OEM stuff, importation, like Parts by Topher, I'll mention him because he's here today. They will, they can get those and install them, and it's pretty cool. So now this is an interesting comparison. This is Aura Blue. It's much more metallic than Nagaro. Nagaro does have some metallic in it. It's much subtler though. You can see very subtle flake. This is much more intense flake, and it's slightly, to my eye, it's slightly more on the green side of the blue scale or spectrum, where Nagaro is a little bit more to the kind of magenta or purple side of the blue spectrum. So seeing them there together is kind of cool because it's rare that you get to see that as a comparison. This guy went with silver optic, which is cool, kind of different on an aggressive paint, so a little more subtle, but it's pretty handsome with it. And he's also got the cognac seats. So everybody walked up to lunch, so I'm getting to kind of walk around these without anybody around me. Another Nardo Gray, and then another Sebring Black, which are more common. I'm surprised other common colors are red. I haven't seen a Tango red one yet today. May show up again. I may pop back on later. There's a matte Daytona Gray car coming. We know he's on his way, but traffic south out of DC is terrible today, so he may be a little late, but he'll get here. So I will walk through some other cars that are here just because it's cool that they're here. Ray Reyes, who organized this, was really great at getting sponsors to support, to help pay for the space here in the paddock and some track time today. They're not running like an HPD or track time. They use it for photography. So earlier they were doing some parade laps out on track, like 2x2, and they had this really insane drone pilot who was kind of bobbing in and out. So look for that on YouTube sometime. And then NGP is one of the sponsors here today. So they brought their race rig and a couple race cars. The first is their RS3 LMS that has won a couple races in some TCR classes and was most recently raced by Audi's former head of custom racing, Tristan Herbert. Still has his name on it. I think that's its most recent victory was that setup. And then the other cool thing with the RS6 theme is Audi once raced the C5 RS6 sedan in the US in the Speed World Challenge. Michael Galati, Derek Bell, Randy Popst, I think they all drove this car at one time. Bell may have been in the B5 RS4 era or S4 competition. But the RS6s were definitely raced, so like legit Rennsport racing history on the RS6. So having it here with this gathering of road RS6 Avants is pretty neat. Would have been cool if they would have raced an RS6 Avant too, but they actually didn't sell it here in that generation. We only got the S6 Avant in those years. Some people have converted them, which is pretty rad, but that's kind of that. And then Bill's here. We've got the Audi Club set up. Brought the e-tron down. Thought we'd show these guys what CM Beige looks like, since it's also available as a color on RS6. Almost like a Porsche chalk, and one of the standard exclusive colors for the seat. It's not a standard color where you're like, there's no upcharge, but it is a standard exclusive color, which means it's like $4,900. So if you want that color, which is very close to Porsche chalk, trust me, I got a buddy with a Spider. We've parked next to each other, very close. You can order it on these cars, which is pretty neat. So, I'll see walk around here. I think Chris Topher left with his Navarra Blue all-road. Maybe drove up to the clubhouse for the lunch, but there are a couple other cars over here too. Brian Slagke from Long Roof Rally has this Sportec. Remember Sportec? Anybody? It was a Swiss tuner back in the day. I don't think they're still making things, at least still making things for Audi. But so it's a pretty rare Sportec body kit and HRE wheels that kind of have that kind of motorsport OZ look to them. And I think he probably locked it, but I'm going to peek in the open window because he's had some pretty insane interior work done in this car. So he's got Recaro, like factory Recaro shells, and all hexagonal like the newer stuff. He's got, well, stasis brakes. There's some names from the past. Those aren't HREs. Those are BC forged as well. Really cool car. He's had this car forever. I've been seeing Brian at Waterfest and places like that. This car has had many different iterations and constantly in love with it. So if you ever do Long Roof Rally in the fall, it's usually Columbus Day weekend up around like Lime Rock to Vermont. I have no doubt some of these cars will be on that event too. Brian's got a fixation on long roof cars. I understand he may be looking at an RS6 for himself, so maybe he's down here scoping out what all's here. And then let's see here, we have this B9 All-Road is actually owned by a member of our Potomac chapter and a regular on the Long Roof Rally. Love this car. It's clean, lowered, B9 All-Road, color matched, which was factory option on this gray. He was an early adopter on the B9 All-Road, and just cool. So this next one is a B8, early B8 A4 Wagon or Avant, but converted to an S4. So it's got the S4 3.0 TFSI supercharged engine in it. NGP built this car. It's a DC area, Baltimore area native. So since it's a local car, I'm sure that's probably why he's down here. And I've seen him at track days here regularly too. I'm going to walk back past some of these cars because it's just cool to look back at some of the ones that are, well, they're all fantastic. But some of them just kind of grab my attention more than others, like the wheels that Ray has on his car. So if you're on here, it's way too bright out here. I can't read comments, but comment anyway. Because Ray and I have had this sort of debate as to whether the turbofans go on the front or the back. So typically they go on the front that I've seen a lot of people do, but this is a square fitment, so it really doesn't matter, right, which side they're on. But theoretically the turbofan cools the brakes. So I always thought on the front, although I've been seeing some Porsche configurations now that have them on the back. So I got to figure it out. But Ray has carbon ceramics, which look mighty badass behind these partials. And given that I've been seeing a couple Porsche builds now with that too, there's probably a reason for having it on the back. But part of that too, the other thing they did besides cooling the brakes, I don't know if it would make much of a difference in the street, but like when they were running them on the IMSA or the Audi 200 Trans Am or the IMSA 90 Quattro. So if you look at like the 1988, 1989 timeframe, Google that because they're really cool. If you want to go extra Googling, go to Marshall Pruitt. He's a motorsport journalist, if you haven't heard of him. He's got a podcast. Google his 200 Trans Am recording podcast. I was listening to it yesterday on the way down in the e-tron, but it's a 5-cylinder with crazy blow-off valve sounds. It's owned by Zach Brown, who's the head of McLaren F1 and a huge Audi nerd also. And Zach owns that 200 Trans Am from Period, and he ran it at Monterey and ran it. And Marshall was able to get it under the hood. That has nothing to do with RS6s, but I heard it yesterday and it was cool as hell, and Marshall is a great guy. So definitely worth a listen. Again, that's Marshall Pruitt's podcast. He's a writer for Racer. He's a commentator or whatever. But anyway, back to Racecar. Looks badass. Oh, so the other effect, where I was going with that, sorry. I lost you guys. I apologize. The other thing it does is it creates negative air pressure underneath the car. It pulls air out from underneath the car, and that's how it cools the brakes. But in creating negative air pressure, almost like a vacuum, right? So what's that going to do in racing circumstances? It's going to suck it down to the ground. So it actually helps grip. Now, on the road, I don't know that you'd actually feel it, but maybe that's why it's on the back, because you're going to create more grip at the rear. I don't know. So back to the purple. It's just really distinct. This one's for you, Amanda. I know you like Merlin. It's badass. Hope things are going well for you guys in Texas. The Tribute here. The other thing that's nerdy that I love about this car, it's definitely lower, in case you didn't notice. But the plate, Z5M Wagon. So Z5M is the color code for Navarra Blue. That's super nerdy, and I love this guy for doing that. I think I saw a couple other plates too that are worth calling out, and I don't want to walk in front of his camera, so I'm gonna go around. The Opt car, of course. A friend of mine from Pennsylvania. Anyway, hey Ray. They're worth calling out. So I'm on Facebook Live, right? All the people who are coming, you want to walk us through, like, they get a swag bag, right?
Yeah, swag bag.
And shirt.
Get shirts.
And then Ray was, like, painfully persistent to the supporters, the sponsors of this event, right? So you got all kinds of cool crap to give away. I shouldn't call it crap.
Certificates from NGP, which is a big sponsor of ours. So ACNA Quattro emblems, which are really awesome. ABT came in big time, gave us some carbon fiber shift knobs, which are really
neat.
Expensive.
Yeah.
Expensive. And yeah, we have
also now available at Audi dealers, right?
Yeah.
You can buy those. Yeah. So if you're not winning one today, and I'm gonna guess all but 3 of you aren't, you can get those at the Audi dealer, or from Opt. Either way.
Of course, parts by Topher came in with the steering wheel.
Oh, wow.
So we raffle those off along with European cup holders with the covers and everything. So they're like...
Those are all from Chris?
Really, yeah, all from Chris.
Man, I might have to, when I step into an RS6 one of these days, I might have to get all that crap.
I mean, ABT, parts by Topher, NGP, 3-4.
Tell me about the chair.
Oh, the chair. Oh my God, the chair is Viper chair. They're a big sponsor of ours. They custom made 2 chairs with our logo on it. So we get to raffle one off, and a surprise giveaway to the guy that came from the longest distance gets this one.
Very cool. Very, very cool. And then we have some...
But yeah, we're raffling all of that stuff along with the custom made license plate name.
Sign.
The weekend sign. And then of course, our sponsors gave us posters to display for their roof box.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And then some other stuff here from Liquid Molly.
Yeah, Liquid Molly came through for us. Yep.
Very, very cool.
Very cool stuff. So
Man, I'm really listening to the steering wheels. Love what Topher does. All right, so that is
all at 2 p.m.
You throw a nice party, Ray. This is pretty fun.
It's all for these guys, man.
Yeah.
It's all for these guys. So.
If you're commenting, I apologize. Like I said, it's so bright out here. I can't see crap on my camera anyway, so I'm assuming I'm still live. But I'm going to go back through. So here's the other thing. If you're answering, here's a survey. If you were going to order a car in either Goodwood Green or Navarra Blue, Goodwood Green, Navarra Blue, which would you do? This one's in your face, badass, and this one is super classy. I'm just curious. I have a friend who might be trying to consider that. And so I would do that. So we look for any more nerdy plates before we shut this down. You got a Dare plate, always badass, from Pennsylvania. Dinosaur, not really sure the significance, but cool. And he's got a Thule rack. Missed that earlier. All right, so the Z5M plate. I thought I saw Type RS too. I can't remember now. But anyway, that's it from the Northeast. It's Northeast RS6 Treffen, right?
Yeah, Northeast RS6 Treffen.
And I assume by the reason you're calling it Northeast, maybe there'd be more elsewhere.
There's certainly some requests to be somewhere else. So
Yeah.
if we can help out, we'll help out.
Yeah. Well, Ray, thanks again for putting this on. We've really been enjoying being here. Yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to shut this down. We'll save it and put it on YouTube. What should I go out on? The Merlin. We'll start with a tribute. I'll go out with a tribute again. So if you're still with me, thanks for watching. I'll go ahead and put this on YouTube. But this is Northeast RS6 Treffen. Oh, worth saying too. So Ray took the group yesterday to Audi of America, and Anthony Falk, who's product manager for the RS6, came out. Anthony Garbus, who's product manager for R8 and B9 cars, came out. Ian Avila from Audi After Sales and Audi Accessories came out. Audi Collection. So some Audi staff who were really cool came out and hung out with us at headquarters yesterday, even though headquarters is closed, right? So these people all commuted in just to kind of check out the spectacle, and there were only 9 or 10 cars yesterday. So thanks to all the Audi people who came out and supported this yesterday as well. Look for amazing footage from drone video that was shot. Ray had a guy here who is insane with a drone, like was doing crazy stuff between cars, running down the track, a really trick setup. They were doing that on track today. They were also doing it from one of the parking garages at headquarters yesterday. All right, so this is the extra part that didn't make the Facebook Live broadcast. So a few more cars showed up, so I figured I'd walk you through those cars. First, this is another Nardo Gray car, roof rack. Notice the kind of C7 Quattro badge on the grill there. It's been added on. It's a C7 thing. C8 cars don't get that, but looks cool. Nice little subtle touch. And then the other car that showed up is this Daytona Gray matte. So this is a factory matte paint. It is built that way. It's in a very expensive paint job, and very, very cool. This car only has like 100 miles on it, and 80 of them came here, is what I'm told. So Boston wheels, and then it's got a ton of OEM plus stuff from Topher on it. I will walk you through some of it. You're gonna hear me over those other cars. It's got the flat bottom Alcantara red stitch steering wheel from Germany and a leather covered airbag. Alcantara sides with red stitching for the sides of the center console. It's got the upgrade German market stainless kind of brushed metal lens, like speaker cover lenses. And then the other thing that's really cool, that's worth saying, Audi Accessories sells these gloss black door handles as an option, so looks pretty cool on the mat. And then the OE RS floor mats, that's where those Alcantara pieces will go, those sides for the center console. And then factory Alcantara roof, which is not available in the US. It's a European thing. So he got the factory Alcantara roof liner, and the difference, should you want to do it, parts by Topher, get that he got it for this car. They have this extra hook here that you have to install, but otherwise it's the same fitment. So pretty cool. And then those speakers with the brushed stainless steel covers will go in there, and they've got LED lighting on them. So I'll throw in the wiring harness for that. But this car kind of wins on the OEM Plus upgrades list. It looks pretty good there next to the Speed World Challenge Racecar. This is a custom Revenge GP. Not his first game in the RS6 genre. He already did a C8 RS6 sedan. You may remember that. It was like a dark blue. Anyway, so that's a total of 19 RS6s that showed up today at the Northeast RS6 Treffen gathering. They're over there now getting all those kind of raffle prizes that we were covering earlier that Ray showed us. Those are all being given away now. So if you came, you have a chance of winning them. So Ray's going to do more of these, as he said. Look forward to them. Be very cool. Maybe other places. But that's it. I will. That's the end of the post-credit scene.